Who is Randy? Don't bring anyone mother into this. Yo, mom in the fucking stand!
What does she think of your, your dating, your ex-girlfriends? Is she...
Well, that's the best thing about her because I met her and she was kind of a fan. Like, she's seen every single Rogan podcast, every single Your Mom's House, Death Squad. Like, she knew me through Death
and
Squad.
through.
Yeah. And then I met her, and when we first started meeting, like, I was like kind of nervous, like about my past, and she goes, "Oh, I know everything about you." And I'm like, "That's right. You do know everything about me. Like everything about me. More than people that I've been friends with for 10 years, Do you
ever think about what a remarkable journey and story yours is? How crazy it is where you are? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because from what I remember, like, wasn't it that you had met Stanhope and you were doing some like vlogging or something for him?
Yeah, I met Stanhope first before Rogan, I believe.
Yeah.
And I used to do his website. I designed his website, and then
you're living still in Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah. This was just me because I learned how to do websites like the first year AOL came out.
Okay.
And
whoa.
And no one knew how to make websites back then.
How old are you? Just to put it in perspective.
This was probably when I was like 25. 24, maybe less earlier than that. And so I would like reach out to people I like Doug Stanhope and Rogan, and like, hey, if I can help you in any way. And so I would go to shows and film Doug Stanhope and make little videos for him,
which you're really good at.
Yeah, this was before YouTube though. Like,
yeah, I know, but I've seen like your editing rhythm and tone and choices.
Thanks.
It's very you have a skill, man.
Thanks, man. But yeah. And so back then you didn't have like videos on your website. Like it was unheard of because everyone had modems. So I was really good at shrinking videos to really small so you could have them on websites. So I did it for Stanhope, and then Rogan saw him and was like, I want you to do my videos, So then Rogan started flying me out, and then one day, Rogan just hired me and moved me out to California to do it full time. So,
yeah.
The videos at first.
Yeah, videos. Yeah.
So you do a few of them and he's like, this is good.
Yeah. And it was great because I don't know if you remember the story. I was working at Gateway Computers at the time, and when Rogan hired me, I had to put my 2-week notice in, and I was like, hey, can I talk to you? I need to talk to you to my general manager, and he goes, actually, I need to talk to you also. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And he goes, Gateway's closing, so here's a severance package. Here's $3,000, and like I'm like. He's like, what do you want to talk about? Nothing, It was just how it lined up. It was
really
it was magical, and then. Moved out here with a girl I dated for 11 years, and then...
what?
Yeah, I was engaged, and then, it was weird. Like, you know that, right? Like,
no, I didn't know you prior to, like, I only knew LA Redban.
Well,
I don't know your history.
This is actually really funny. So I moved out with this girl, and, we've been dating so long. She moved to California with me. She started giving me an ultimatum, like, hey, we've been dating 10 years. We got to get married. Right,
because in Ohio years, that's like a lifetime.
Yeah,
like, you need to have children.
Yeah. But Rogan was so anti-marriage.
Yeah.
He wasn't married. He didn't, he was against marright. So I had to hide my...
He probably had like bits about it.
Oh, he did. All his bits, and about having kids. We don't need any more kids. Go on the 405 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you need duplicates? He used to have... Like his whole material was about not getting married and having kids.
Oh, how funny!
And so I had to hide it, and then we ended up breaking up because she's like,
so funny, dude.
She's like, I know you're hiding it from Rogan. Like you're not, you're like ashamed, and then like how we got engaged was embarrassing. Like because she knew it was coming, so I wanted to try to like hide it so she didn't was surprised because she knew I was going to ask her to marry me at any moment.
Did you put it in your butt?
No, it's more embarrassing. I went to a PF Chang. We went to PF Chang's. I was just like, any time, she's not going to expect it if we're just going to PF Chang's, right? And so I'm in the car and we're about to go inside. I'm like, hey, you want a piece of gum? And she goes, no, we're about to eat. And I'm like, no, you want a piece of gum, right? And she goes, no, let's go. And then I'm like, will you marry me? Like in the car in the parking lot of PF Chang's. And she's like, real? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And then there was like an hour wait, and she's like crying in the wait.
I got
like,
the engagement.
You want some egg rolls?
Right.
Yeah. My boyfriend popped the question in the PF Chang's parking lot. How romantic.
I know. I wasn't even thinking of romance. I was just thinking of like shocking her. So
when you break up, so the engagement ends, do you get that ring back?
Usually you don't, but she gave it back to me.
It's a nice girl.
And yeah, but except that, like, I had to borrow all this money to buy it. I was making, when I first moved out here, I wasn't really making any money at all. And I was living in Calabasas because I was like, Joe, where should I move? He goes, you don't really like Calabasas.
Yeah. Single
like, so does
young
Kim
guy.
Kardashian, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and then when I gave it to my mom, she's like, I'm like, Mom, you know, I got the ring back. And you hold it? Because I think I'll lose it.
Did you ask your mom if she would marry you?
No. I should have done that.
That would have been
It
good.
was good boobs. But then my mom's house got broken into like a year later, and they stole the ring.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So you're doing that. You're doing like kind of website stuff with him. And then don't you suggest the podcast?
Well,
or how does that work?
Well, we were really into doing this thing called JustinTV back in the day before it's Twitch now. And they reached out to us and go, hey, we got this new thing where you could like stream live video. And I was like, this is sweet. So I used to put the laptop in the green room to try to get Joe and Joey Diaz to like talk on it and stuff like that. And Joe was kind of into it. Like he liked it. Joey Diaz hated it though. Like one time Joey bent my finger backwards. He's like, turn that fucking thing off. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like he hated it for some reason. And then like me and Rogan were like, we should just like do this like, you know, like once a week at Joe's house. And so we did it like 3 or 4 times. And then people were like, you should like make this a podcast. And so we just started taking the audio from like these Ustream videos and making them podcasts. And then like after like episode 10, we're like, we should invest in microphones and like mixers. So like every week we'd buy new equipment. So that's why like if the first maybe 30 episodes every week sounded different. Yeah. And I had no idea how to do audio shit.
I mean, I'm definitely on one of the first 10.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on that couch in his office.
Hey, do you remember you were with us in San Francisco when we did one of the live streams in the green room, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, like the first time I met you.
Yeah.
What year is this?
Like 09.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember sitting on Joe's couch. I always tell him because he'd be like, "Come on, sit forward, man." I was like, "My back hurts," man." You know, because you have to like lean.
Yeah.
I wanted to sit back.
Right.
And then I was like, I remember I would walk out with Brian. I'd be like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, it feels weird.
Like, why are you guys doing this?
It was so weird, foreign.
Yeah, he's
right?
like, it's, you know, just I go, "Are people listening to this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so, yeah," because it was just starting.
Right.
Know?
But it went fast though. I'd probably say every week we're getting like 10,000 new people though, and then around like episode 10 or 20, it's just, oh, this is serious, you know. It was crazy how fast it happened though. But the whole time, I mean, for years I would be on the road with Joe, and every time we were in radio doing radio stations like morning radio, every time he would just sit there for like 3 hours. Usually you go in, do your dates, get the fuck out of there, and every time he was having so much fun. All the DJs were like, "This is the best episode we've ever done of our radio program." Yeah, and we used to always go, "You need to do this, for a living."
Because he was really he can talk.
He can talk.
That's the thing.
Can talk.
He can engage in conversation.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Wow.
Well, I used to also, we would be there when I would do those shows. Joe's famous now for like the famously long podcasts,
right?
And I would always be like, like after like that 80-minute mark, I'd be like, are we still going?
Yeah.
And then you'd end up doing sometimes these 3-hour podcasts. But it's always because he could drive it that long. You know?
There was many episodes where I just sat cross-eyed, like after like the second hour, I'm like, how are we still going? Yeah.
But then when you're on his show, it just goes by so fast. He's so engaging, and like you get sucked into like
it's like
world,
a different form now. I mean, I feel like back then, I don't know.
It's like a comedy podcast, and now it's like a serious.
And that's like conversation, though. It's like you just like. I feel like the way it's done now is the way to do it, and some of those early years are about figuring it out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like I used to feel like we were more trying to put something on for it, and like now I just feel like we're just talking.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I'm not even trying.
Hey, were you always a techie kid growing up?
Well, my dad was an engineer, and so like I grew up, instead of playing with toys a lot, just playing with my dad's like electronics, like circuit boards and soldering irons and shit like that. And so I think because my dad, he made me techie, and then he bought me a computer like when they first came out, and so I always had computers. And I was always trying to learn how to do everything. And to me, it was fun. It was because I was such a video game guy that when computers got big, like building my own computer and stuff, I guess I've always been a techie guy, and now it's just out of control. Like.